Hi guys, how's it going? I am trying out a new camera position today. I like to record these when I'm driving because sometimes it's the only time in the day where I can control the background noise. I've not got Faith asking me questions or Stefan doing work calls or something in the background. Anyways, I wanted to talk a little bit today about different kinds of diets and what is the right diet. The quite simple answer is the one that works for you. So every single diet that's out there, whether it's a keto diet, an Atkins diet, 2 meals a day, 5 meals a day, every single diet, if you want to lose weight, you need to be in calorie deficit. That means you need to burn more calories in the day by what activity you do and what exercise you do than the calories that you consume through food and drink. Calorie deficit. So the second factor when you're working out what kind of diet you want to try or is going to work best for you is your lifestyle. And what I mean by that is, for certain jobs or certain routines, having 6 or 7 small meals a day is just not going to work. For certain people, things like intermittent fasting, which I've talked about before, will work because they only need to have 1 or 2 meals in a day, and that works for their lifestyle, so therefore it becomes maintainable. There is no point in changing your entire world around to change your body if it's not something that you can keep up. Another example of this is a lot of the challenges that are around that have very extreme results. Usually it's because the people that have entered are doing 2 sessions a day, sometimes 2 to 3 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week of exercise, and their calorie input, so what they're eating every day, is 1,000 calories, sometimes even less than 1,000 calories. So now you're taking a person that was eating, say, 3,000 calories a day and doing nothing. They had no form of exercise, and they have an office job, for example, so they don't have to walk around, they just sit all day. Less than, say, 2,000 steps in a day. So you've now taken a person like that and now you've put them on a diet. Just the diet alone is creating a calorie deficit of 2,000 calories a day. You've then made them exercise twice a day for 2 hours a day, let's say. So now they're burning an additional 1,000 calories a day. You see how it can go from one extreme to the other. So not to say that that person's going to go straight back to eating 3,000 calories a day and doing nothing, but if they can't keep up with that exercise routine at the end of a challenge, and if they can't keep up with eating 1,000 calories a day, they will pick up weight again. And what happens usually is they pick up weight, and then they start seeing that they're picking up weight, then they feel bad about themselves, then they feel guilty, then they eat more, and then they pick up more weight, and before you know it, within a couple of months, they're heavier than they were when they first started a challenge. This tends to happen with any kind of diet plan that is restrictive and excessively restrictive. Obviously, there's got to be a little bit of give and take. You can't expect to eat whatever you want, whenever you want, and how much of those foods you want, and do no activity and still get the desired body of your dreams. There's got to be a little bit of give. But depending on what diet is going to work best for you, depends where you have to give to create that deficit. So, for example, and if it fits your macros-based diet, you could have literally any food ingredient on that diet that you chose to, as long as you are still hitting your daily macros and still in calorie deficit, you will lose weight. So is it a better idea to have more nutritious food on that diet? Yes. More whole grains, more veggies, more lean proteins, and then you're going to get a decent volume of food as well, and you're not going to feel hungry. But if you wanted to, can you make it work in your favor? So if you're going out on a weekend and you want to have a pizza, for example, you can fit that comfortably into your macros for the day. You just have to plan ahead. So that can be one option that might work for some people. Negatives, there's a lot of planning that goes into it, and you have to understand how macros and the makeup of meals actually works. So if you don't already understand that, you either need to find out yourself, or you need to find a coach that can help you learn that. Then something like keto, I find it isn't followed very well, because people think that if they're having low carb options, it's automatically keto, and that's not the case. If you have several options in the day that claim to be low carb, you can quite easily still go over your daily carbohydrate intake for the day on a keto-based plan. So again, if you're not planning, and if you're not looking at your entire carbohydrate intake for the day of that macros, you can still end up failing on that diet. Banting, another sort of higher fat based diet, doesn't mean that you can have as much fat as you want whenever. Does it mean you can have fats? Yes. Does it mean that you can have fats that are in a larger volume than the majority of other diets or meal plans? Yes, it does. But it still has to stick to the rule of you being in a calorie deficit. So if you're not in a calorie deficit, you're not going to lose weight. And that can change from day to day. So you could have one meal that kept you full, because that's the benefits of fats, that they keep you fuller for longer. And then the next day you decide, oh, I'm not doing banting today, I'm going to eat whatever I want. And now, because you didn't have carbohydrates the day before, mentally you end up binging on carbohydrates, and then you don't follow the rules of banting, and you're not having high fat. You end up going over your calories, you're not in calorie deficit, then you don't lose weight by the end of the week. So yeah, you need to look at what kind of routine you have in the day, what type of schedule you have in the day, and realistically how many meals you can have per day and what's going to work for you. Then you've got to look at the makeup of those meals, or the macros or macronutrients of those meals, being your protein, your carbohydrate, and your fat intake. And then you've got to see which of those works best for your body and your digestive system and your taste buds. So unfortunately, sometimes what we want to eat and what tastes nice doesn't work for our body, and vice versa. You have to pick something and then monitor your progress on that before you can actually say, this is working for me. There's a lot of other illnesses or different bodily functions that can also affect it. For example, polycystic ovaries affects your carbohydrate intake. So if you have an underlying medical condition, again, I would advise you speak to a nutritionist, a dietitian, or some form of coach to just give you a bit more guidance, because with conditions like that, you're going to be very carb sensitive. When you have carbs, how much carbs you have, because your body is going to respond differently to them. And there's lots of other conditions that affect individuals differently, which I won't all go into in this video. If you do have any questions about something specific, just pop me a message and I will endeavor to get back to you. So yeah, then you've got to look at the different underlying medical conditions you've got, because that's also going to have an effect on which diet your body is going to respond best to, and you've got to monitor your progress overall. So however many meals a day you're having, however your lifestyle dictates you want to eat, what times you're going to eat, as long as you're in calorie deficit, it's working for you and it's maintainable. And by working for you, it means you are getting the progress, the results that you want to get. You're seeing the weight loss on the scale, or you're seeing the body fat come down, you're seeing improvements in fitness, improvements in strength, all different ways of tracking if something is working for you depending on the goals that you've got, and everybody's goals are different. So I hope that helps, guys. If you are in the stage of your journey where you're trying to work out which diet works best for you and why, any specific questions, like I say, just get in touch and I will always try and help as best I can. Have an awesome day.